let's work on hooking up the leg controls. We'll need to make sure that our pastern bones will rotate in a way that will reflect a foot roll. So that's what we're about to set up, and then we'll make sure that that rig is connected to our primary leg controls. Alright, so getting started, we will create a point helper. We'll have it set to box cross, and we can bring the size to 9. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and add this to objects to hide. And then we'll rename this to PT DRV L pastern BK underscore A01. I'll now quick align this to pastern A on the left side. Okay, great. Next, we'll go ahead and clone the object, rename this to pastern B01. And let's go ahead and quick align this to the pastern B bone. However, we want to align its orientation to pastern A. So let's go ahead and Alt-A align. And we'll want to make sure that the first 3 are unchecked, otherwise, of course, it will snap to pastern A. So we don't want to align in position, but we do want to align in orientation, so we'll make sure all 3 of these are checked and choose OK. Alright, great. So now when we rotate this object, it will control the orientation of pastern A. So we need to set one up for pastern B. So what I'll do is clone this object. We can rename this to hoof BK 01. And now we can go ahead and quick align this to our hoof nub. However, we want to Alt-A align to our pastern B bone. Alright, so now that the orientation is matched, we're good to go here. Let's go ahead and create another helper, and this is for our hoof roll. So I'll go ahead and clone this object. This is going to be hoof BK roll 01. Alright, beautiful. Next, we can go ahead and move this forward, and let's go ahead and 0 its orientation. So I'll go to the rotate tool, we'll make sure it's set to gimbal, and we'll just go ahead and right click on our coordinate sliders underneath. And now we can go to shaded mode, just to make sure that this is placed in the right spot so we can get a nice hoof roll. Okay, great. I would like to go back to the first hoof helper and make sure that we give this a better name. No need for an underscore BK, so I'll go ahead and, or excuse me, underscore B, so I'll go ahead and remove that from the name. So we're left with hoof BK. Alright, beautiful. So now we can go ahead and transfer all of these to the next side. So let's go ahead and clone and rename. And we're just about finished. And we'll snap across. So again, we'll do that again. We will clone, rename the object. We'll quick snap to pastern B. However, we want to Alt-A align to pastern A. So let's make sure we take care of that. We'll grab the next helper, do the same thing. Clone it. Rename it. Now we can quick snap to our nub, but Alt-A align to pastern B. Alright, let's go ahead and grab our last helper. And feel free to adjust the size on this so it's not so large. It might be easier to select between the helpers this way. So I'm going to set the size to about 5 here. And now we can go ahead and mirror this across. Alright, so with this object selected, go ahead and clone it. Rename it. And now we can go ahead and snap it. So I'll go ahead and enable grid snap. Let's go to our hierarchy panel, choose effect pivot only, snap it to the center. And now we can go ahead and use our mirror tool to bring that across. No clone, which is okay. Alright, great. So at this point we can go ahead and turn off snap. We can go ahead and choose effect pivot only and make sure that we center that object. Alright, beautiful. unchecking Effect Pivot Only, we can now work on linking all of these together. Let's go ahead and grab our link tool. Start on the left side. We'll link the first helper to the second to the third, and the third to the fourth. Really straightforward. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the right side. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Now this last helper we'll want connected to our animation control. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Beautiful. All right, so at this point, what I like to do is go in and freeze their transforms. So grabbing each of these, we'll right-click and take care of that. Okay, beautiful. So now we're ready to set up our constraints. We're just about finished here. So we know that the IK goal, that object needs to be constrained to its helper. It's right on top of it. So let's go ahead and select the goal, choose our position constraint, and now choose our helper object. Now, pastern A, this bone object, needs to be orientation constrained to the next helper. Pastern B gets orientation constrained to the next helper. And here's what we end up with, a very nice fetlock roll. Beautiful. And then we also have our hoof roll in place. So that will pivot from the right spot. And now, when we go to our move tool and start to move this around, the entire rig will follow. Great. All right, let's go ahead and take care of the next side. So again, it's just a matter of grabbing our goal object. We start with that. And we will position constraint. We grab our bone object. Orientation constraint to the next helper. We grab the next bone. Apply our orientation constraint. And now we can test things out. Start to roll the fetlock. Beautiful. We'll check our hoof roll. And then we'll go to the animation control. Great. Okay, so that just about does it for this lesson. Everything is stored in its correct layer. And now that all of these connections have been made, we're now ready to work on custom parameters for the fetlock and hoof rolls, which we will take care of in the next lesson. And then following that, we'll be ready to finish our pelvic rig by setting up our knee and pelvis jiggle control objects.